In my last class, I discussed Browning's My Last Duchess, and today I shall be discussing another poem by Browning, Porphyrias Lover. Porphyrias Lover, as I had said in connection with my discussion of the earlier poem, Porphyrias Lover is indeed a very brilliant poem, very different, and it is difficult to say whether it is, this poem is a dramatic monologue proper or not. Does this poem obey the rules of a dramatic monologue? A speaker speaking and a silent listener remaining present throughout the poem? Does it happen here? Because as we read the poem, we understand that the lover, Porphyrias Lover, speaks after the murder of Porphyria. In fact, he had been there in his room with the dead body of Porphyria throughout the night, and he starts speaking in the morning. But there is no suggestion in the poem to tell us anything about the silent listener. Who is the listener? To whom is the lover speaking? There is no clue. Apparently, there is no clue about this. So, as I said, there may be a question. Can we call this poem a dramatic monologue proper? I shall be taking up this issue later. Now, let me talk about the title of the poem, Porphyrias Lover. So, where is the focus? The focus on the lover or the focus on Porphyria? The lover speaks. And Porphyria is now dead. In fact, she was murdered in a most monstrous way by her lover. Now, from the text of the poem, we can try to prepare a subtext. A subtext about Porphyria. There are clues in the poem itself. The Porphyria was the daughter of a very rich man, a very wealthy man, a man who was powerful and well connected. She belonged to a sophisticated family, a so-called aristocratic family, we may say. And compared to her status and financial condition, the lover seems to be a worthless fellow. Now, how is it that Porphyria fell in love with such a man? Let us take that the man was a young man. Yes. How is it that Porphyria fell in love with such a young man? How did this worthless man get an access to the family of Porphyria? Now, it is very difficult to give an answer to these questions. But we understand that Porphyria's love was passionate. How passionate was it? How deep was it? Well, perhaps from the side of Porphyria, this was deep, passionate, and genuine. But how genuine it was from the side of the lover, that question definitely remains. Because the lover otherwise couldn't have murdered the girl. Or is it simply a case of schizophrenic disorder on the part of the lover, an abnormal man behaving abnormally on the spur of the moment? Even if that be so, the question remains, how is it that Porphyria fell in love with such a man? And definitely it was a secret love, because the family of Porphyria would have never approved of such a kind of love. Porphyria knew that. Porphyria acknowledges that. The family of Porphyria was arranging her engagement, and as Porphyria says that it was not possible for her to resist that. She could not break away from the bond of the family. She could not elope with her lover. Or was it possible to elope with the lover? Because, well, from the clues in the poem, it seems that the lover was a worthless fellow. So all these things, there is another story. If we can build up the subtext, we shall find another story which is full of questions and doubts about various things. And well, perhaps we may imagine that compared to Porphyria, the man was a much older man. Porphyria was rather young and emotional. And, well, she could not work or think rationally, as it happens with younger people, swayed by emotion. But Porphyria was a victim of doubts. She was close to the family as well. And she had her passionate love for her lover. Or was Porphyria afraid of the influence of her family, the power of her father? She didn't have the courage to ignore or defy her father. In fact, she acknowledged that. She acknowledges that she was weak. She could not establish her opinion. In fact, perhaps she couldn't say anything to her parents. And she had to agree to the desire of the parents. So, well, there is, as I said, a whole lot of story on the part of Porphyria. What happened to Porphyria? What Porphyria was thinking? And prior to that, what happened between Porphyria and her lover? How they fell in love with each other? And how deep was their relationship? How long was their relationship? So all these things can make up a story. And, well, as I said, that will be the subtext, which we may try to create out of the text that is there, the text of the poem. There is another thing which I want to mention about the nature of love on the part of Porphyria. Well, there are clues to suggest that perhaps there is a strong sexual element in the love, sexual desire in the mind of Porphyria. Perhaps that was there. And well, the desperation of Porphyria braving the inclement weather, running all the way and coming to the small room of the lover in the night, that speaks of the desperation of the girl. How could she be so desperate? Was it also a kind of a temporary madness that often happens in younger people who perhaps cannot exercise their rationality properly? They cannot reason properly. They cannot think of the eventuality. What will happen next? I'm going to a lover, and then what will happen? Well, all these perhaps younger people cannot think. And Porphyria came. So, how deep was the love? How genuine was the love? The question remains. But she came. And the worthless lover, well, he was only languishing. Perhaps he could never expect that Porphyria would come to him on the night of her engagement. It was raining outside. The weather was inclement. Now, well, critics have suggested that the inclement weather actually is a symbol. The rough weather symbolizes the turbulence in the mind of the lover, the dejected lover. Well, that is, an explanation which is known to everybody. Well, but the weather was inclement, and my point is, Porphyria was so desperate that she did not hesitate to brave this inclement weather, run in rains, and come to her lover without thinking what will happen next. And as I said, that, well, this happens to young and emotional people who never thinks of the eventuality. So she comes, and let me read a few lines of the poem. The rain set early into night. The sullen wind was soon awake. It tore the elm tops down for spite, and did its worst to vex the lake. I listened with heart feet to break, when glided in Porphyria straight. She shut the cold out and the storm, and kneeled and met the cheerless great blaze up. And all the cottage worm, which done, she rose, and from her foam withdrew the dripping cloak and shawl, and led her soiled gloves by, untied her hat, and let the damp hair fall. And last, she sat down by my side and called me. When no voice replied, she put my arm about her waist and made her smooth white shoulders bare, and all her yellow hair displaced, and stooping made my cheek lie there, and spread over all her yellow hair, murmuring how she loved me. She too weak for all her heart's endeavor to set its struggling passion free from pride and vainer ties dissever. Now, well, please note, well, as I said, well, she was trying to awaken the lover. The lover was not responding. And then, perhaps, she tried to stir the lover sexually. Look at this. Well, and laid the soiled globes, etc., and made her smooth white shoulder bare, and made her smooth white shoulder bare, and all her yellow hair displaced, and stooping made my cheek lie there. So, well, trying to perhaps stir up the lover physically, because the lover was not responding, and telling the lover that, well, she was weak. She could not defy her father, her family, because the family ties were too strong for her. She couldn't cut off the relations just like that. Now, well, that is the thing. Then why did she come? And when she came, well, did she not consider that staying with the lover would mean severing, cutting off her relations with the family? Now, well, this is the confusion, the young person's confusion, the young girl's confusion. The young girl couldn't think properly, couldn't think logically. And this is very true, psychologically very true. Because, well, they are the young people, they are ignited like that. Very young people, I mean. And then they cannot think logically. Porphyria also failed to think logically. And she came and tried to stir up the lover, because the lover was not responding. Now, well, is there a clue that the passion of Porphyria perhaps has a physical, strong physical touch in it? And well, now the lover, well, a sudden thought of one so pale for love of her, and all in vain. So she was come through wind and rain. Be sure I looked up at her eyes, happy and proud. Now, well, when the celebrations were going on, suddenly there was a thought in her. She thought about me and thought about the failed love, thought about my predicament, and therefore she came. And as I said, well, once again, I point out that, well, the irrationality, the lack of logic in the thought process of younger people here, as you see in the activity of Porphyria. And then the lover, the schizophrenic lover, well, finally stood up and, well, he looked at the eyes of Porphyria, laughing and happy, and then I am quite sure, happy and proud, at last I knew Porphyria worshipped me. At last I knew Porphyria worshipped me. And still it grew while I debated what to do. So while I debated what to do, and the lover is sieged with a schizophrenic feat, the murderous feat, thinking that perhaps the only way to keep Porphyria with him was to kill her. Now, well, look at the similarity between the earlier poem and this one. And, well, there the Duke ordered his men to eliminate the Duchess, and I gave orders, and all her smile stopped altogether. So the murder, well, how to make her agree to my desires, how to stop the Duchess's excesses, the only way was to liquidate her, kill her, eliminate her. And here, the schizophrenic lover, well, thinks in a similar way. How to keep Porphyria? Because the lover was not young, as I said. He was not young. Well, he could think that very soon Porphyria's family would come, and Porphyria will be taken away from him by her father and family. So, how to keep her forever? The madness of the lover could allow him to think only this as the solution. What is the solution? Killing Porphyria. And just see how ruthlessly Porphyria was killed, and the lover was thinking, no, Porphyria was feeling no pain. So, simple madness. So, look at this. A thing to do, and all her hair in one long yellow string I wound 3 times her little throat around and strangled her. So, well, he used the yellow hair of Porphyria as the rope, and in a very playful way he was doing this. Well, using the hair and, well, tying the throat with the hair as if the hair was being used as a rope, and suddenly pulling it and strangling her. So the ruthless way, well, it is very often said that, well, the method in madness. So if the lover is mad, and if his decision to kill Porphyria was an act of madness, there is also a method in it. Well, the method that he used, well, he did not give perhaps any inkling of doubt to Porphyria as to what he was doing, as if he was playing with the hair of Porphyria and, well, coiling it round her neck once, twice, thrice, and then suddenly pulling and strangling her. And look at the reaction. I am quite sure she felt no pain. So this is utter madness. Utter madness. Because, well, this cannot be the act of a normal person. And in his madness, the lover was thinking that he was perhaps doing the correct thing, because by killing Porphyria, he would be able to keep Porphyria forever with him. There would be no rival, no family pressure, and forever and ever Porphyria will be with him. And her cheek and I unlightened next the tress about her neck, her cheek once more blushed bright beneath my burning kiss. So, well, he didn't kiss Porphyria, living Porphyria. When Porphyria was trying to stir him up, he didn't kiss her, but now he's kissing the dead body. Look at the grotesque act of the lover, because, as I said, well, the schizophrenic lover. And, well, he was glad that after all, now Porphyria will have her will. Porphyria wanted to come to me. Porphyria wanted to be mine. And after all, I have given her the scope to be mine forever. How? By killing her. And that all seemed at once is flayed. So glad it was its utmost will that all its scorn at once is fled, and I, its love, am gained instead. Well, all her doubts are gone, and I am Porphyria's love, and now at last Porphyria has gained me, because she will be mine forever. And not only that, but Porphyria's and I, its love, have gained instead Porphyria's love. She guessed not how her darling one wish would be heard. She guessed not, well, that is correct. She could not guess that the lover was going to murder her. She couldn't guess. But, well, the lover is trying to explain it in a positive way. She couldn't guess that she would be getting, well, her utmost desire, that is me. And that I did for her. And all night long we have not stirred. So I have been sitting with Porphyria, with the lady, throughout the night, and yet God has not said a word. Now, well, some critics, well, very foolishly has pointed out, quoting this line, that, well, what Porphyria's lover did was approved by God. But, well, this line is uttered by Porphyria's lover, and the lover who is definitely mad, psychologically aberrant. So, this is the remark of a mad person, mad, a schizophrenic person. And well, but the question is, the basic question that I raised, who is the silent listener? Because Porphyria is dead, and now Porphyria, in the morning, Porphyria's lover is speaking. So Porphyria definitely is not the silent listener. Who is the silent listener? That is a question. That is a question. And well, a possible answer maybe is this, that somebody came to the house in the morning, and well, to the dumbstruck stranger, Porphyria's lover was narrating the story. There is only perhaps one clue to suggest that perhaps a stranger had come. Well, look at that line where Porphyria's lover says that Porphyria felt no pain. Well, and he repeats the line. Well, I shall be soon pointing out this line to you. Well, strangled her. Yes, no pain felt she. And then second one, I am quite sure she felt no pain. So, well, the explanation maybe like this: no pain felt she. When the lover said, the stranger, well, gave an expression of disbelief. No pain felt she. Perhaps the silent stranger wanted to say, what do you say? And then this repetition, I'm quite sure she felt no pain. So this one clue may perhaps suggest that there was a stranger who came in the morning, and Porphyria's lover was narrating the whole story to that stranger. Otherwise, there is no clue to prove that this poem is a dramatic monologue. No clue to prove. And before I end, I'll tell you one thing. Porphyria, the name Porphyria, has a Greek connection, because Porphyria definitely is derived from a Greek word, porphyra, and it is said that porphyra is a kind of a disease. Actually, Porphyria is a kind of a disease. Well, and Porphyria or porphyra was a disease which was perhaps detected by the great medical person of Greece, Hippocrates, father of Greek medicine. It was he who discovered the presence of this disease, porphyra or Porphyria. So Porphyria means disease, a disease which is connected with neurosis. And Porphyria, porphyra, is also connected with another kind of meaning. Well, it suggests purple color, purple. So neurosis, well, purple, jaundice. If one is afflicted with jaundice, well, everything becomes yellow. So the yellow hair of Porphyria has been mentioned. So yellow, that may suggest a nerve disease. Porphyria, disease, neurosis. In fact, the lover, not Porphyria perhaps, but the lover was neurotic. He was a mad fellow, and he was suffering from acute neurosis, schizophrenia, and therefore, well, he could do this. Now, well, the way, the beautiful, dramatic way that the poem has been narrated by Robert Browning definitely speaks of his great genius and he was a great genius who could, well, analyze the abnormal psychology of human beings. Thank you for today.